today I'm going to be teaching you 5 things about VYSE that you might not have known. The first of these things is that you should be placing the arc rose, which is the signature ability, up high. The reason for that is because if you just place it like this, your opponents can see it 10 meters away, which means that, you know, this is pretty far away to be able to see and shoot this ability before you get it off. But we can use our friend trigonometry here to figure this thing out and decide that we should be placing this thing up high, because if we place it up high instead, that means that 10 meters, they need to be much closer than they otherwise would before. They're going to have to be right under this thing to see it, rather than just, you know, pretty far away where they can easily shoot it. Obviously, putting it up high as well means if they do try and shoot it, then they're going to have to flick back if you swing on them. Let's stick with the arc rose for number 2 here. And the second thing you want to know about the arc rose is that if you're using it on the attack side, I think you've got to get used to this really, and for sometimes on defense side as well, where you place it, flash it, and instantly pick it up. The reason you want to do that is because there's a different cooldown timer for if your opponent destroys it as to when you recall it, or if it doesn't get destroyed. So if you are putting it in an aggressive position, something like this, right, where this could pretty easily be destroyed, right, if anyone is over here, they're going to see you place it and they might try and shoot it. But if you do get it flash off, they can't shoot it when it's like this. They kind of have to wait a bit for it to go back. But if in that time you can pick it up before they destroy it, then you get it back in 20 seconds rather than 45 seconds, right? So you might go for something that looks a bit like this, right? Flash, pick up. The flash still will have gone off. It still might have flashed them, but you will instantly be able to pick it back up. And you'll have to get used to the noise, because it makes a different noise whether you flash someone or don't as well. So for instance, if you are doing this, you might need to quickly react to, okay, did this make the noise as if this has flashed someone, in which case I need to pick it up. But if no one was there, maybe I don't need to pick it back up. And in fact, I can actually just kind of use it as like a bit of a recon later in the round, right? I can go off and do something else and then come back to it, flash again. Oh, it didn't catch anyone. No one's there still. And so now I can pick it up. We can come back here and now go towards A. Okay, the third thing I want to bring up here is with the vines, because the vines, this isn't a great ability on its own, right? It's kind of, it's just right? You don't take a ton of damage moving through it. The slow, you do get slowed a bit, but it's not crazy. You know, it's just fine, right? It's not amazing. You can also be shot. You know, you do have to be pretty close to shoot it, and it takes 2 bullets, but you can shoot these if you're the opponent as well. They're just not that great. So what I would suggest to you is, instead of just putting like 1 here, and maybe I want to put, you know, 1 here as well, right? Instead of spreading them out, I would actually suggest just putting 2 down together. And the reason for that is because this, I think people will just run through. But if you put 2 of them down together, I feel like people are a lot less likely to run through this, right? When someone sees that, they're probably like, yeah, I'm not going to run through all of that. But if some people just see 1, I think they will want to. So I think chaining 2 together like this, as you see, like when you chain 2 together, it's a pretty sizable area then that, you know, people aren't going to want to do that because it's such a big area that you're covering. Also, just a quick FYI on that though as well, no, it does not stack damage if you do 2 at once. You just take the 1 damage of going through 1, so try and spread it out as much as you can. The next thing to know about VYSE is that VYSE is a combo agent, and whether that's comboing with your own abilities or your teammates' abilities, that's going to be very important. So for instance, how might you combo your abilities together in a setup? Well, let's take something like this. I might put my wall something across like this. Right, it's a very good wall for allowing your teammates to flood into the backside this way as well. And the fact that, you know, people as they're coming down here, you know, if someone does come here, they're now trapped. They can't go here. They have to move forward in one of these directions. It's not going to be easy for them. So this is the kind of wall that I think you want to be using that's going to be very, very strong. But how might you combo that with other abilities? Well, you might come and put your flash somewhere up in this kind of direction. And you might put your vines somewhere like this, right? And when you've got this kind of setup, so you might just be chilling somewhere back here. You're just waiting for your wall to go up. It says wall triggered. You might detonate both of those. Flash. The wall is going to be up. These are going to be here. There's going to be 1 guy ahead of this wall. You're going to kill them because they're going to be flashed from up there. And none of their teammates are going to be able to come and trade you because you've put the vines here, so they can't move fast enough through this to actually trade you on the back site. Right, this is the kind of setup where you can really create something very, very powerful with VYSE. And quickly following on from this combo idea, one way you can use the wall in a very funny situation is to put a wall in a position where someone will just get trapped if they go past it, right? So for instance, out here, and then maybe you've got nano swarms, or you've got a breach aftershock, or a raise nade, or something, brim ult, right, brim molly, something just in here that is going to absolutely destroy someone as you then trap them in. There's going to be quite a few areas on different maps where you can just trap someone in. And then the final thing I want to bring up here is, how do you actually go about countering the wall? because this is obviously, you're not just going to be playing with VYSE, you're going to be playing against it as well. So let's say that you see a wall like this, right? And you can see the wall from about 4 or 5 meters away, right? So you'll start seeing it around here like, oh, they've got a wall here, right? And a lot of people have talked about, oh, well, you can just bait it out by kind of jumping and letting it go up and then go from there. The problem is with doing something like that is this wall still lasts a decent amount of time. So in the time that you have done this and baited it out, then yeah, you're all safe, but you're also allowing the entire other team to rotate across. So if this is where you're planning on execing, well, now you've just kind of ruined your chances of doing that. So actually, in a kind of strange sense, what you want to do, I think, is almost the opposite, where you want to say, let's get everyone ahead of this wall, if possible, right? So your duelist is going in, but everyone else is ending on this side of the wall. That way, the opposing team, yeah, you are going to have to take the site then and there, but that's what you're gonna have to do at some point anyway. So you want the whole team to be ahead of this so that your opponents can't just flood back in onto the site whilst you're just sitting waiting for the wall. So hopefully you can use some of those tips then to both counter VYSE and use VYSE to VYSE's maximum efficiency, because I do think that this agent is going to be a very different one in terms of, yes, there are similar themes to some other agents, but it is kind of in its own unique space, and therefore will probably take a bit of time for people to figure out the best setups and what to do. But those are just some ideas of how I think you probably do want to be using a VYSE setup most of the time.